I'm like, are you mean girlsing me right now?
You pulled a Valentino, you were like, I'd rather not.
And you have to imagine, little gay 15-year-old Sean thinks that he is hot shit.
Let's give it a go, maestro.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sav and Sean show. My name is Sean Duncan, and I am 6'5", currently seeking representation, and...
Oh, was that my cue? I don't know, you ended in the middle of a sentence. I'm sorry. Hi, my name is Sav. I am 5'9", and I am based in an undisclosed location in Central Florida near the equator, and... I don't need to prove anything to you.
That will do you so well in the industry. Also, this is our show.
Welcome.
As the name suggests.
It is our show. As the name suggests, yeah.
So this week has been kind of crazy for me. I am out doing the rat race all over again of working in this industry. In case you did not know, Sav and I both do a lot of like creation and stuff like that. We have our own projects that we work on a lot of the time, but we are also actors, and some of us are singers and some of us are just fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if I would call myself an actor anymore. I'm retired from that. I haven't done that in some time.
That's not true. You were just in a show.
That's true.
I mean, you wrote it, but you were in it.
I know, yeah. I was really in it out of necessity because I truly had nobody else. I tried. I asked everyone I knew.
I'm screaming.
But I guess like I don't consider myself an actor anymore in the sense of like I go out and I audition for things and I book the gig. I don't audition well. I don't like auditioning, which is ironic because as an actor, that is in fact how we get
That's the job.
Gig. Correct.
Because there's that like long, whatever you call it, like the adage, I suppose, but it's always like, well, auditioning's the job, performing is just, the gift.
Yep. That's really why I started writing my own stuff, is because I didn't want to audition anymore. So I said, how can I get out of this?
It's hard.
But still get a chance to perform every now and then if I want. And so I took probably the most difficult route to get out of auditioning for things, and that is to write, direct, and produce all at the same time.
I'm still very much in it, right? And I love performing. I love performing. I also do not care for auditioning. My anxiety goes through the fucking roof.
Yes.
It's really bad. I'm like all shaky all the time. And I've just started trying to do this thing where I'll go like, well, you have to walk in as if you already have the job. These people just want to see that you already have the job and just want to see that you're doing a good job at already having the job. Remember, you have it. You have it.
What a great mindset.
I try, but I was just at an audition the day before yesterday, and I was originally going to submit for this digitally because I'd been out of town, but I was back. And so I was like, oh, if it's easier, because it's silly, but I think that I'm more fun in the room, because when you're looking at something like digitally, people are just seeing like your work. They're not really seeing who you are. There's no room for it.
Yeah, you
right?
don't get that opportunity to like walk into the room, warm the room up, gauge how the room is already. You don't get to have that hello. You don't get to have that goodbye. You're just another person on a screen. It takes that kind of like personal touch out of it. So
exactly. And I'm charming.
I'm not when I'm anxious and under pressure and wanting you desperately to like me, which is often how I feel in audition situations. So therefore I'm not charming. I'm very cold and closed off and sweaty and nervous, and I stutter a lot. And yeah, it was not a good time.
I do this thing where I overcompensate. So like I'll go in and I'll be like, I'm hella nervous, but I want to be super likable. And so I'll be like, hi guys, what's going on? Like, oh, this is so cool. I'm like one of the guys, like we're having fun. But then what ends up happening is I don't rehearse in my mind what they're going to say back to me. Mm-hmm. But then what ends up happening is they'll say something and I don't know how to proceed. And so I'll end up like almost overcutting them.
It's not in my script.
Yeah, exactly. And then that gets kind of awkward because they're like, ah, ha, ha. And I'm like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And it's a whole...
Not what I asked, but thank you so much.
So more or less, I would say that, there's some people that you go and you meet and they're like, oh, this is a Tuesday for me. I've got like 4 other auditions booked after this, and then like a call back and I'm doing something else.
Couldn't be me, mama.
I'm just not successful.
It takes me 3 hours to mentally prep for the audition, an hour to get ready, probably an hour to commute because a half an hour of that is driving, and then the other half of the hour is sitting in the parking lot, like doing deep breathing exercises performances. Then probably an hour or two, you know, waiting my turn, going in, then another half an hour drive back. Then I need to take a nap to decompress from the anxiety. And sometimes I almost feel like I was going to have a cardiac event or something. I have to take a shower. I'm so sweaty.
Literally.
I usually don't audition well, so then I have to expel any memory of it from my mind with meditation. It's really bad.
And then try and dissociate from the idea of wanting a callback or getting the job to begin with.
And then I'll
crazy.
Just start looking up different career opportunities on Indeed.com.
Time for a full 180 shift. I love that for you. I do this thing too in like preparation where I'll be scouring for auditions, which is hard enough to begin with. You're like 2 hours in, you see everything that isn't your type, and you're like, because also typing is wild, and you're like, ooh, and everything's just a headline. So you see a headline, you're like, oh, that would be good for me, and then it's not you, and you're like, okay, just kidding. So that's hard. And then finding something like if you're singing that's in your book that fits the type of what you're looking for, but then also makes you stand out enough. Like the way that I've booked most of my work that I've gone with has just been me seeing what an audition calls for and being like, how can I put a little spin and flair on this that like puts some of my personality in there? It's just a mess.
It's tough out there.
It is.
Couldn't be me.
In the words of the incomparable philosopher Olivia Rodrigo, God, it's brutal out here.
I am not an actor, no. I don't have to deal with it.
It's crazy too, like when you think about like what is a good audition. I guess when I think about it, like everybody has an idea. You see like High School Musical or whatever, like auditioning is something that's talked about in pop culture all the time on like shows and movies, Fame, a chorus line, all that shit. But then you see somebody who just shows up and sings really well, but they have no like characteristic to them. And so it's like, I have 65 more of these. I'm not really going to remember you.
Yeah.
So it's like, what builds into like a good audition?
I think there's a lot that goes into having a good audition, which is what makes auditions so challenging, is because it's such a short period of time to, as you said, prove that you already have this role, that you know this character, that you are this character, when you probably haven't had a lot of preparation time as well.
Yeah.
So something that I look for, like as a director, when I'm looking through auditions, is more of an ability to connect to the material, I think, however short it may be. And if it's not, you know, a monologue or anything like that, if it is a song, you know, just, I want to be able to like see expression and acting all the way up to the eyes. You know what I mean? I think it's, I would much rather see a really strong performer who's just an okay singer, but an incredible actor that really sells the song, rather than like the most amazing singer I've ever heard who like is giving nothing in the face because they're just focused on the vocal quality or like all the tricks or runs or whatever schmutz they can do with it, you know?
Talk about my entire resume, mama.
So yeah, I just want to be able to believe you, I think. I'm not a casting director. I just am someone who does far too many things herself.
Love that.
I had a really great audition, which was rare for me. Really great audition for a theater season several years back when I really was hitting the grind. And it was far and beyond one of the best auditions I've ever had. Vocally, slayed.
Love.
I had 2 monologues. My first one, great. Made him laugh. Second monologue, this really dark, really twisted kind of dramatic monologue. And I'm getting through it.
She's broody. She's spooky.
And I can tell they're in it, and they're in it with me. And I've got like 3 lines of this fucking monologue left. Fucking director's at the table, his phone rings, and he didn't have it on silent.
Did he answer?
No, he like turned it off, but like his ringer fucking went off in the middle.
Somebody called Patty LaPone.
Yeah, but like the moment it happened, I could tell broke everyone's focus. Like I tried to stay in it, but like, man, it was, I was so frustrated by that. It was so annoying because I never have a good audition. You ruined it for me.
It's funny too, because that's one thing that's cool about virtual, is that you could just do like 50 takes and then see what works out well.
Yeah, I love the ability to have more than one chance.
Love
I am
that.
a second or third chance kind of gal.
Yeah, gotta get comfy in it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, when you just be in a room with a bunch of other people, and I swear to God, it's like a Western fucking standoff, because you're sitting there with people that you've worked with before. Maybe you're like, this is the first time you've auditioned for something with this group of people, and so you're all a bunch of strangers, whatever. Or like 6 degrees of separation, we always say, like, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, whatever.
Who knows someone I know, yeah.
Exactly, but you're sitting there in this room, and it's almost like near. Hi, what are you here for?
Everybody's sizing everybody up.
Always. And it's always those fake bitches too who are like, oh wow, that's like a really cute shirt. I'm like, are you mean girlsing me right now?
The cloyingly sweet, like, you look so cute right now.
Yes. And it sucks too, because like that shouldn't be the culture where it's like you should just be happy for people and like if they do well, they do well. But like it's not a competition, but it's a competition. You know, everybody wants the job.
Oh, it's a competition for a job. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. At the end of the day, there are 300 people there for a job that maybe has 10 spots open.
Right.
Maybe. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And there's always like different archetypes of people at auditions. Like, depending on what audition it is, I always went to like musical theater auditions, right? And so there's always different kinds of people. There's the ones that kind of like the sharks, they kind of like scope and circle. And like you said, they kind of go up and make little kind of sweet comments, but you know that they're just kind of like sizing you up and kind of talking shit about you.
They're in that royal blue peplum dress. They have the full pony, big reusable Starbucks
with
cup.
probably like a big white bow or something, or a big white scrunchie.
Massive fucking binder. They said, I'm every type. I can do anything. What do you want to see?
It's one of those like 3-inch 3-ring binders. Like it's massive, mama. Yeah.
She's
and
thick.
then there's always like the ones that are like stretching.
Oh my God. Not
for
even
some
a dance
reason
call.
For a vocal
Not even a
call.
dance call.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the corner, like just really intensely, like in a straddle or something crazy.
Oh my God.
And then there's the people that are warming up just in the holding room. So like not even trying. So like sometimes it's like lip trills and like sirens. And then other times it'll be like full on people belting their songs like in front of everybody.
Yeah. And you're
or like maybe they'll go up in like a little corner around the hall, but like still at the top of their lungs.
Yes.
I'm like, mama, we get it. You can hit the high D. Like we get it.
I love the straw girlies because they will be sitting there. Ironically, I have a straw right here. They'll be sitting there and they'll just like doing whatever. And they're like, girly pop. I love the breath support. Everybody's got their vibes. Everybody's got their moods. Everybody's got whatever. But oh my God, it is impossible to focus.
I like the ones with the Darth Vader masks. That's singing to them, and then you don't hear anything. I like that. They get my respect. I do like that because I respect needing to warm up, but I also like not in my space. Go away.
I'm screaming. It sounds like we're ripping apart the entire industry, but like this happens.
No, I get it. Everyone must do what they gotta do. If that's your vibe, that's your vibe. That's why I don't do it anymore. So I don't have to.
I'm screaming.
Sorry.
I had this audition, and ironically, it very much 180'd my life because it led to another decision that we won't go into. But I, a couple months ago, was in my place up in Virginia, and the next thing that I wanted to do was a cruise. I really wanted to do a cruise contract. I've done a bunch of like resort and theme park work. I just love the idea of being able to travel because that's all that this year was about. It was about travel and like, okay.
Exploring the world.
Yeah, we're going to go out on the ocean. We're going to have a nice time.
We're going to go overseas.
Yes.
Literally over the sea.
But above the water, not underneath. That's a whole other can of worms, mama.
Sorry, Celine.
So I wanted to go out in the ocean, have a nice time. Everything was going to be great. And there were these 2 calls for this one cruise line, and I missed the deadline for one of them, but the other one was still there. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just go in for this other one. And like the first one was completely my wheelhouse. It was like improv actor with like some activity, like that's Sean's bread and butter. But this other one was like a vocal call. I'll take my appointment. I'll be in and out in 5 minutes. It'll be fine. Whatever. It's about a 2-hour drive to go to where I was going. So I was like, that's fine. I'll do some prep work. I'll pull some contrasting songs out of my book that I'm like comfy with, and we'll show up. We'll do what we need to do. And I was told like, if they like you, they'll keep you into a dance call. I was like, oh my God, I really got to be on top of these songs because, you know, actor first, singer second, dancer third, but that second and third are saying a lot. Like, actor first, mama.
Let me make you laugh, mama.
Yeah, literally. Let me make you laugh, and then we'll go, and you can see that I'm a terrible dancer, but I'm fun.
I'm screaming, but I'm fun.
I'm fun. So I get there, and there's like 2 people ahead of me, whatever. One girl leaves, and you know, sometimes when you go to an audition or like anything, a job interview, whatever, and you're just living your life and you come to the realization that you're just not good at something. Which like,
yes.
Hey, that's real. That's real life, mama.
Yes.
So I'm seated And I just was not in the same caliber as the rest of the people here, which was interesting because of where this audition was located. I was like, oh, wow, pleasantly surprised. But I'm seated and I hear this girl go in and the paper thin door. I have to think that like somewhere, there's a conspiracy where the architects of dance studios are like, yo, we need to make these doors like paper thin. So anybody who is nervous.
Yeah, so they can hear if the teachers are yelling. Yeah.
Exactly. Teachers are yelling. They can hear if somebody's doing well. They can hear if somebody's doing badly. Like, you know, whatever.
It's like a rule. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can hear everything they're saying clean as day. And I'm like 10 feet away also from the door to this room. So like I can hear everything. And she's bubbly and she's wonderful. And they ask her to sing and she pulls out the most beautiful rendition of I Have Nothing I have ever heard in my entire life. And and then I Want to Dance with Somebody. Like, it was like beautiful. They asked her to sing both. They didn't stop her. They were like, it's a 32 bar, but ma'am, please take us to church. Like, goes through the entire thing. And I'm gooped. I'm more than anything, I'm happy for her because I'm like, oh, like, what am I doing here? But also like, you booked. And not in that way where it's like, girl, you booked. Like, no, she booked. So she sings. She's like kind of mousy. And in the way that she leaves, she's like, thank you guys so much. And then like leaves.
Like she didn't just slay the house down.
Literally.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. The guy at the thing is like, oh, can I have your contact information? I was like, wow,
Can I have your autograph? I mean, sorry, your contact information?
Literally. So I'm like, okay, great. Now I get to go in. And the songs that I chose for this were songs that I was like, okay, I don't have like a pop voice. I would say when I sing well, it's like pop rock, punk-ish, like is like my wheelhouse, right? Okay. So I was like, what do I have? What can I bring? And I have this karaoke standard that I love called Disease by Matchbox 20.
I am familiar.
Yes, you've had to hear it millions of times.
Yeah.
And I was like, I sound good in this. I was like, it doesn't show incredible range, but it is kind of growly. And, you know, I can pull it out, whatever.
I can act Disease.
Exactly. And then the other option that I had, I was sort of like phoning between the two. I had Zombie by the Cranberries available. And I was like, we have bad history with this song. I don't really want to. Because, again, it was very, like, rock heavy, but very top of my range. But I could, like, scroll tape, but I didn't think it would be a good idea. So I went with Haven't Met You Yet by Michael Bublé. And I was like, this I've sung a million times before. This is fine.
A logical jump from Zombie.
I go in and I get through. By the way, when I say I get through, I didn't mean I made it through the cuts.
Oh, you finished the song. I see. See. I just said, okay.
I'm standing there and literally as soon as I finish my second cut, they go, thank you so much, which of course that's how these end, is when they don't want to see anything more from you. So I was like, okay, great. And I walk over to get my book from the accompanist who is behind them. So I have to like walk past them. And as I go to grab my book, they again go, no, thank you so much. And I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm going. Obviously did not ask me to stay for the dance call or anything like that. And so, and what's really, really great is that there was parking right out front. It was like 15-minute parking. I was in and out, mama. I did not have to put any money in that meter. She said, thank you so much.
That's the universe, baby. She said you didn't need this job.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, funny enough, because of that, I said, okay, well, let me go audition for this other thing that I kind of don't really want, but I feel like it is definitely in my wheelhouse. And I did. And I booked. And it wasn't great. So, you know, maybe don't make broad life decisions when you have one bad audition. Maybe. Just maybe.
So, as I've mentioned, I don't audition very well. And I don't know why. I never have. It's never been something I've been good at. So I don't really know truly how I've booked as many things as I have. That's a lie. Half of them were because I knew the director and they called me and were like, hey, do you want to do the show? And I was like, absolutely, yes, say less.
It's who you know, mama.
Correct. I've skated by my entire career based on who I know. I get very nervous. I get very self-conscious. I just don't have a lot of confidence when I do it. And it's mostly in my vocal ability. Like my acting, I feel solid in. My dancing, I feel solid in. It's always just been my singing, which I don't really know why, because I'm not like a bad singer.
No, you're not.
But there is one audition that really does outshine the rest in terms of just the worst audition I've had for anything ever.
We got to keep him humble, mama.
So I was auditioning for another season, yet again, for a different theater, which in retrospect, I'm kind of glad I didn't get the opportunity to work with this specific theater.
Ooh.
So I show up and I actually felt pretty good going into the room because it was like really, they only had like 3 or 4 people in at a time, maybe less than that. It was like 1 person in the room singing and maybe 2 of us on deck in the lobby. And then they would just text people like to come in or like it was timed out or something like that. So everything ran very much on time. There was not a lot of people there. I didn't feel that pressure of like feeling a lot of people watching me, even though no one is ever usually watching, but whatever. So I go into the room and I give the accompanist my book. I say hello. I get up on the stage and it was for a pop rock, like contemporary musical. What was the show I was auditioning for? It was like 2 different, it was like that and Singing in the Rain or something like that. So I was auditioning for the pop rock show. The song that I gave the accompanist was one that I had practiced before with my voice teacher.
Yeah.
Who I had worked diligently with on my audition confidence and my vocal ability. And my vocal ability did improve. My audition confidence kind of evolved. I'd say evolved.
Yeah.
However, the moment this accompanist started playing, I don't know if maybe this was a different version of this song in a different key, or maybe I don't even remember if maybe like I had printed off the lyrics online really quick and had printed a different key, but I very quickly realized that he was playing in a key that was not the key that I had practiced in, which is like rule number 1. The song was Alone, and it was the last 2 lines of the bridge leading into the chorus was my cut. And to preface this, let me say, on my best day, my best, healthiest vocal day, I'm like maybe an alto 1, okay? Maybe yeah. I can belt on a really, 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 really good day, and I've warmed up and I'm really healthy. But like, I'm not a soprano. I'm not a high belter. I love a good alto harmony. I was an alto 2 in choir all throughout middle and high school. Like, that was my jam, okay?
Okay.
And so this song was like a brassy, like, rock pop belt. And I practiced it, and I knew it, and I was singing it, and it was in the wrong key. And I'm like, well, I have no other choice but to just...
Gotta commit.
Gotta sing it. So I'm singing it, and I'm at, till now, the beginning of the chorus. I always got my... And I'm like, oh my God, it's high. It's high. And I'm like in my head going, oh no, like the big note is coming. Like, what do I do? Because this is already like pushing it, mama.
Yeah.
The version of this song that didn't exist, I guess, or whatever, that I practiced with my voice teacher, I was able to hit that final note, that big last note.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going to be able to in this. But then I like had a brain aneurysm, a surge of confidence where I was like, maybe I'll just go for it and like see what happens.
Maybe I'll
like,
just be
maybe
bold.
I'll just hit it. Like the adrenaline.
This is my smash moment.
Me. Yeah, we'll just, and it'll be my moment to hit this note. Under pressure with the lights beating on me, with all of them watching me, and I get to that, and now it chills me to that, and I try to hit the word bone, and I hit B, and then my voice just turns to like air, like just straight like it. There's no sound, like, and it's so bad. And so, like, not even the piano could, like, really cover up. It, like, it wasn't a crack. It was, like, an absence of singing. You know what I mean? Like it was so bad, Sean. I was looking at the table of, like, 3-4 casting directors, and every single one of them, like, looked at their paper immediately after. Like, could not look me in the eyes. Like, because it was so bad. And I was so embarrassed. And then I just finished the rest of the song. How did I get you alone? And the wimpiest, saddest little falsetto you ever heard in your life. And I grabbed my book and I scurried out of there. And then I called my mommy and then I cried. And I was so embarrassed. It was horrible. It was by far the worst audition for anything I've ever had.
You know what's so funny? I have also auditioned for that same theater. This was honestly I'm 20. This was 10 years ago. I auditioned for this theater, and it was they were doing something. I literally think it was The Music Man, and they needed like teens, and I also went in and I was singing from How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, one of like the most popular songs from it.
What was it? Self-Made Man or whatever?
I Believe in You.
Oh.
I also had it in the wrong key. And
Kiss of Death, truly. It really is.
Literally. 4 steps higher than it should have been.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
I did not pick up on it. I was like, oh God. And then did the audition, right? We did the cut. It was fine. The casting director at the time was actually kind of nice to me and was like, look, we know you can sing, but because the key was so high, I just did it an octave below, which ironically was like perfectly in the middle of my range. But he was like, we just want to hear it in the key. And I was like,
you pulled a Valentino.
Okay.
You were like, I'd rather not.
No, I didn't. I said, okay, let's try. And keep in mind, delusions of grandeur. Because similar to you, I was like, okay, I'll do
Let's
it.
give
This
it a
is
go.
fine.
Maestro.
I had a performance later that night, so I was like, I've given myself enough time to do this audition, maybe be called back, and you have to imagine, little gay 15-year-old Sean thinks that he is hot shit. And so he's like, okay. I was like, a little crack in the veneer, that's fine. I'll sing it in the proper key. I'll get called back, they'll hold me to read, and then I'll go do my performance, and I'm thriving. Well, I sing it in the proper key. Which, by the way, all falsetto. Like, there you are. Yes, there's that face. It was bad. Anyway, get all the way through it. And they're like, thank you. And I'm like, of course. So I leave the room and they're not dismissing anybody yet. So I sit down and I go to the person who's like ushering everybody. And I'm like, I'm so sorry to be a bother. I do have a performance later on this evening. So I don't mean to rush anybody, but I would just like to know how long we'll be here. And she said, oh no, you're free to go, Mom. And I was gooped. I couldn't even drive. My dad was in the car downstairs and I was gooped. I said, oh, okay. Are you sure? And then I just left.
I would have killed myself.
This close. Oh. Another really terrible thing that I did, and this will be like the last story. I had another audition as a teen and I'm pissed too, because when I was young, I was so handsome. I had gotten like glamour shots done. I wanted my parents to pimp me out so I could end up on some DCOM or something, and I could be a little micro celebrity. That's what I wanted more than anything. And my family was like, no, why would you do that? And my parents were actors, so it didn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so in my teen years where I could finally start making decisions for myself, I also auditioned for this other company that I didn't know was pay to play. And for those of you who don't know, a pay to play company is basically like you audition in like a youth program type deal, but then you essentially pay like a tuition. It's kind of like a camp, but you're like putting the show on. You're not receiving any compensation. You're paying to be a part of it. And I did not know this, but thank God I bombed this audition.
Again, the universe saying, you know what?
She was looking out for me. So Smash, like I mentioned earlier, was really, really popping off at this point. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's only 2 seasons. It's still very good. It holds up.
Regrettably, only 2 seasons.
Regrettably, only 2. The biggest number from the show, like in the first season, was a song called Let Me Be Your Star.
Yeah, it was the song and all the marketing and like it was the song, you know. It was the let it go of Smash, yeah.
Exactly. And little gay Sean went into this audition room with that song in its original key, which, by the way, is a duet. Opened my book. I gave it to the accompanist. I said, I am ready. And thank God I didn't get a call back for that, but I thought I was everything. I was like, fade in on a girl. Like, it was a whole thing.
Oh my.
Anyway, if you like what you just heard, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe to our show.
Please give me the job of your favorite podcaster.
God, I hope I get it. If you'd like, you can follow us on Instagram at _SavandSeanshow. If you want to, you can follow me personally on Instagram at Anthony_Clams.
Lord of the Barnacles.
And Savannah, where can the listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Savannah_Peterson. I've got a link tree in my bio now. You can just click there. It will take you to my TikTok, my website, my YouTube that I don't really use anymore, but there's some fun, career highlights in there if you want to.
Cover of royals that will blow you away.
That's actually on private now. I'm actually pretty sure.
Oh no, I bullied you into it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, or if you don't feel like going to Instagram, you can check out my website, savannahpeterson.com. I recently gave it an update, so it's got a little bit of a fresh look if you want to give it a little looky-loo, see what's up over there. I definitely recommend a desktop view on that one, but, you know, I did what I could with the mobile view, and we made it work, and she's cute. So, yeah. Other than that, I'm probably, you know, eating a late-night snack in the cold, harsh light of my fridge.
One could even say, alone.
You know, till now, I always got by on my own. This could have been the Sav show, and it would have been just fine.
I never really cared until I met you.
Without me, you're the Ep2 Sean show, so...
That chills me to the bone. Thank you all so much for listening. And we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.